Yay! All right, so we are here talking about one of my favorite subjects because I love to organize and plan projects and all that kind of fun stuff, and that's what this is all about. So using Planner and To-Do to manage your projects and much easier when you can manage it all in one place and be very consistent, and that's one of the things that we will be talking about. So my name is Stacy Deere Strole. I am a Microsoft Office Services and Apps MVP. I am the owner and CEO of a company called Focal Point Solutions, which essentially all we focus on is Microsoft 365, SharePoint, any integration, that kind of stuff. I have provided my email address and phone number. My running joke is I'm not an attorney, so if you have a question or clarification on anything that I've ever talked about or any of my trading sessions, feel free to reach out. You will not be billed for it. There's my social media information as well. Feel free to connect up, ask questions and whatnot through there as well. And then I try to do some blogging for my personal blog and on my company blog posts, so feel free to check those out. And as well, if you're a big Manage Metadata fan, I got a couple books out there, 2010, 2013. Technically, most of the content's still relevant because it hasn't changed a lot until here recently, so feel free to check those things out. All right. So also, mark your calendars. The Microsoft 365 Collaboration Conference in Vegas has been moved to March 23rd through the 25th. Make sure you check it out, and it'll be nice to get everybody back together again and have a little bit of fun. Also, thank all your sponsors. We can't do this stuff without them, and I really appreciate the fact that they help us out. So awesome. They've got some raffles going on. You can win. We are giving away 3 Oculus Quest all-in-one, so some virtual reality stuff. Just make sure you follow all the information out there. Also, there's a GoFundMe charity that they're doing to help, help the United Way and Internal Medical Corps. I think this is a great thing that they're doing, and please take the time to check it out and support if you can. Okay, so hopefully this thing stops flipping on its own now. So the agenda is I'm going to talk about Planner. I'm going to go through the Planner Hub, how to create some templates, FYI, some tips and tricks, and then I'm going to talk about Planner in groups, how to do project organization, an overview of how you can do it, and some tips and tricks around that as well. And then I'm going to show you how to bring it all together utilizing To-Do, and then I have something special I'm going to show you. It's essentially utilizing Planner inside your Outlook, and there's an application called IPLANNER /IPLANNER Pro that can help you bring that stuff together. If you're someone who deals with a lot of emails and stuff like I do, swapping from one application to another all day long can be very tiresome and confusing, and and all that kind of stuff. And sometimes things just don't get done. So being able to pull those things together makes life a little bit easier. All right, so Planner, we're going to talk about hubs, tips, and tricks. So this is essentially a high-level view of the Planner Hub. Notice I can create some favorites, and I have a little bit of analytics that are automatically built in. It tells me any tasks that I have started, things that are in progress, things that are late. Clearly, I'm behind on a lot of things. I have a lot of late things, it looks like. Things that are completed as well, but I can see my plans that I am focused on. So maybe I own these. And then notice you have where you can see any recent plans, and then of course you can see the list of all of them, right? To create a new plan, you essentially just add a name. Now, one of the tips and tricks that I would tell you is that when you're dealing in Planner is, especially like since I'm a consulting company, so I deal with a lot of different clients. So one of the things I noticed is you may have a project that has the same name as another project, but it's a different client. So essentially what I've done is come up with a naming scheme. So acronyms for the client, NASA, I picked it as an easy one because I didn't have to really come up with an acronym, right? But, every client has essentially a 4 to 5 digit or number right before the actual name of the project. So in this one, I have NASA/migration. Do I want to add it to an existing Office 365 group? Now, in this example, the reason why that's important is each one of my clients I have a group site for, right? So I can actually tie this plan directly to their group site so that I'm keeping all of their projects and their content and everything all located in one place. So I don't have to go to Planner to manage their tasks. I don't have to go to a SharePoint site to see their actual content, reports. I don't have to go to another place to see all their like OneNote notes. I can go to one site and I can see everything, which makes managing projects and clients much easier. You have where you can make it public so anybody in your organization can see all the plans, or you have the option to do private and then add who you want to have access to it. Okay, and then of course just hitting create of your plan. All right, so then you can actually then start creating tasks, which are these little cards that you can create. And notice you have buckets. This one you see not started, in progress, and completed. You can see like if you've got a task list associated, due dates, all that kind of fun stuff to them. And I'm seeing this under my tasks. So these are the ones that are just dedicated to me. I'm not having to look at all the plans and find my stuff. This is just anything that I'm assigned to, I'm going to see right here. So one-stop shop essentially in the Planner Hub to see all tasks that are identified for me. And then notice up here you can actually see it in chart view and a schedule, which is like a calendar of when all your stuff is due, right? So pretty cool to help organize yourself. And then the option is you've got some really good ideas or options. Once you have actually created your little site or your little plan, notice under the 3 dots you have some additional options. So here you can go out here, add additional members to your plan. You can attach files to it. You can go to the notebook. Now remember, I mentioned that you can associate this to a group site. In that group site, there's a notebook, and that's what that ties to. If you select sites here, so if it's not already attached to a group site, or if you do, and you select sites, it will actually create another site collection out there and connect this plan to it. Now, keep in mind, by doing it this way, it is creating another site collection, and it's using the name that you have identified as the actual plan name. But if I already have one created like that, what it's going to do is append a number at the end. So it's going to have a random number at the end of the URL. That's to keep it so you don't have 2 duplicates with the same URL. But now note that you have 2 sites because that was accidentally selected instead of connecting it to the group site that already existed. The reason why I bring that up is because it happens very often, and there is a very defined difference between the 2. So typically what I do, especially in my scenario, I never create sites out here. The group sites are created as part of new client onboarding or project onboarding or whatever. It's part of that project and not in the Planner Hub. To be honest, I spend very little time out in the actual Planner Hub and more time just accessing the information through the groups. So I'm focusing on a client or department or whatever as a whole and not everything as a big picture out here. Also notice you have the option to add it to your favorites, which then adds it right here. I can copy a plan, so which I will show you guys a little bit about that in a minute. I can export this plan to Excel. I know that sounds a little funny and odd, but if there's always people that say, hey, can you get me this information, not in a picture format, for a meeting or whatever, you could actually export it into an Excel document and then be able to sort things from there. Copy link to a plan, so sending someone a link essentially so they can get to it. And then you have some plan settings, and then add your plan to your Outlook calendar so you can tie those things together. All right, so I'm actually going to bring up my site over here. So this is the Planner Hub. that I have. And the cool thing is like I said, these are my favorite plans, which you see them here as well, right? And I've got a couple things that you notice I have PMO templates and project templates. So I mentioned earlier where you have the ability to create some templates or copy an actual project, etc. So just as an example, when I'm here and I went to these dots, these are those options right there. So I could copy a plan. Now, what I've done is all my projects essentially have the same setup, right? So essentially you want to create a template. So if you think about creating a project site template, you want to also manage your tasks for projects, probably very much close to identically the same throughout. But unless you have a way to actually set them up or create a template, you have to set these up manually by hand. So what I've done is actually created a plan that I call project template. And then I've set up my buckets to what a normal project would have. You know, the evaluation. So under here we do some assessments. Then we have like the project setup. You know, we do a statement of work, project setup into the system, creating the group site, all that kind of fun stuff. You know, and then you'd have your deployment tasks. But essentially, notice I have nothing under there at this time because these are the areas that vary, right? But I have all my buckets. So I have my deployment, my UAT, and my go live. So I have this here. So what I can literally do is then I can't go back here. Sorry, I hit the wrong button. I can copy this plan, right? So I can copy this, create a new plan, give it the name that I want, set up these settings, and then I have a new project site already set up identical to this one. And then I can attach it to my group site for that client. So instantly, I automatically already have my project ready to go. And then all I have to do is really then fill in the blanks, things that are specific to this project above and beyond what you see here. So I have another area that I created that I call PMO templates, okay? And if I can get it to, there we go. So essentially what I've done here, I just created different things that I've utilized, like I've got some package solutions, some development needs, environment builds, architecture stuff, and miscellaneous. So underneath of these, if I select them, notice how I already have like nice little checklists of an order that the things need to be done in for an intranet design and implementation, right? Here's the things for an on-prem team site implementation, okay? And then so on and so forth, where you got environment builds, Lotus Notes migration, I know I said that word, right? Architecture, etc. So I have essentially my task templates already done. So what I can do then is I can click on the three dots, and then I can say copy the task. So notice that here's the name, so the name stays consistent. So the more that you can keep things consistent in your environment, the more it's easier for your resources and your PMs and everything to learn that process, cold. They don't have to think about it because it's just the same all the time. So right now it's under the PMO template. So I need to change the plan to a new plan that I've created. So I'm just going to choose, so we'll just choose the Trach Mock one here. And then, well, actually, let's choose this one here because then we can actually see. So project template, so the one we were just seeing over here. And then notice the bucket names. So there's all those buckets that I'd created underneath there. So I'm just going to say, this is design, so I'm just going to go deployment here. And notice these are things to include. If you want to include progress, but you're starting from scratch, so you wouldn't need that. Dates would be specific, so you won't want that. But your description and your checklist come over, okay? So then if I just hit copy here, notice it says task has been copied. I go over to this project, and then notice it's right here. So in a matter of minutes, not hours, I can completely set up a brand new plan and all the tasks, And then all I have to do is go into it and assign the proper users and then add in your start date and end dates and then any notes. So setting up a new project, making it consistent, you can do so very easily using the new templated, using these templated options. Any questions around that or thoughts? I'm going to take that as a good sign. All right, so I just went through all the template stuff there for you, but like I said, you have all the information out here. Planner and groups. So then what we'll do is we'll go ahead over to one of the groups that I've created. So if I go here, so this is essentially group site. And notice over here on the left-hand side, I have these things. Notice, remember I said I have a four to 5 letter acronym for each one of them. So for this one, because the company is called Trecora, TREC, and then what the project name is. We have a toll and wax process. I create one for opportunities, so future projects that they've already talked about, so they're essentially on the backlog, but I don't want to forget about them, and I want to make sure that they're somewhere, and so we can put notes as we follow up. So I've created a plan for each company called Opportunity, and then I have one for support. So in my situation, we have an email address called support@focalpointsolutions.co. And so anytime something comes in there for a client, we come out here and we actually put in a ticket for their support issue. And then notice for these, you know, I set these up differently. So like since it's not an actual project. So like this is in progress. So here's my to do. Here's the next one is completed. Then I just make sure it goes through the process of adding a new one when it's in progress and then when it's completed. And it gives me a place where I can literally keep track of any support issues that happen to come in through this client. So I can see the history, the notes, and all that kind of stuff. It allows me, again, I go back to, I have a one-stop shop where I'm seeing all the information about this actual organization. So any projects, any support, any future projects, all that, one place. And then I have another project one down here, so I can have multiple projects, etc. And when a project is done, essentially I just edit this and remove it from the list, but it's still attached to the site, and I can see all the information from either here or the Planner Hub. Okay. Now, earlier I said I don't typically go into Planner other than when I'm doing the whole templated thing. So if I come back to the home here. Now there's inside of a group site, you have these options for your home that when you're here and you go to new, and I'm not being very slow for some reason. Okay, let's try that. All right, under new, notice I have the options to add a plan here, and then you have all these other things, add an app. If you're using the team site, which replaced the classic site template, you do not have the ability to create a plan. And that's one of the big differences between that template and a group site, is you have the ability to add plans and attach them and all that kind of stuff. Now, the cool thing is if it was a regular team site, I could go here and I would actually have the option to upgrade it to, you know, up to a group site. So then I would have the plan options. Okay. I just had someone ask that question in my last session, so I'm gonna make sure I hit that. So if I go to new and I go to plan here, now notice what I have the ability to do. Oops. Use an existing plan. So maybe it got created in Planner already. So I could select that and then I could do a drop down. Now notice it shows all of these with that same abbreviation. So I could literally, the one that's not on here is environment build. So must have been an older project. I could select this and then hit create, but essentially all I'm doing, I'm not really creating it, I'm just attaching it over here. So if I now update this, we're going to see that it will, at some point, it will show up over here. Everything's running a little slow today, so I apologize. Oh, there it is. So environment build there. So now I have added that one to this group site. So notice I have all my Teams communication. I have all my documents associated to this client, notebook information, which has like your usernames and passwords and project, you know, as you're going through discovery sessions, all that stuff's here, all your project plans and everything, all in one location. Again, if I go back to here and I do plan, I can say I want to create a new one. Again, I can do this, so make sure I have my abbreviation, and then give it the new name. So we might call this one content migration, right? Show in site navigation. I can hit create here. Now behind the scenes in the Planner Hub, it's actually creating this brand new plan. So if I switched over to the Planner Hub, I would see it over there. But again, I'm bringing everything together in one place, okay? So from here, like I showed you earlier, you can easily set up, you know, set up your new task. So we just keep this one as to do, and I'm going to add a task. I want to do this. Here we go. Give it a name. I'm going to say set up migration tool. All right. I'm going to add the task. So now it's down here. I'm just going to click on it. So notice it automatically assigned me because I created the task, but I can select this and then I can add anybody else to this task that I want. So I'm just going to add Mike. Notice it's in the to-do bucket, but if I had multiples, I could change that if I wanted to. Is it started, you know what the progress is, in started, completed, priority, start time, due date, and then I can put notes. So I can put migrate old content to O365. Now notice I have this option to show on card. So if I was to select this, notice now over here, there you go. Notice it shows on the card here, okay? But then you have the ability to add a checklist. So I can say step 1, step 2, step 3, right? Now notice I also have the ability to say show on card here, but notice what happens to this when I do that. So when I select this one, the description unchecks and now my checklist is showing. I can add attachments and then put comments, and I can just do just a test. Now, as long as you've set this up so that whoever has been assigned this project can receive emails, meaning notifications on any changes and whatnot, every time that comments are posted in here, right? There you go. It didn't send, just a test. Okay, and I hit my send here. Notice time and date stamped and who put the information. So now I'm recording the history of this task, right? So I get it in an email. So when I get that email in my inbox, I can actually reply to that email, or whoever's assigned to it can reply to that email, and the information goes directly in here. So you don't actually have to go into the planner task to actually update the comments. It works on a reply, okay? The other thing is you have these labels. So you can literally have like statuses for these. Oops, sorry. So we can do, say, waiting on client. We can do roadblock, on track. We're in training, and maybe go live. Okay. Now, I've added this to 1, so I'm going to say this one's on track, okay? Now, so I've done that. Notice you see the little thing here, says it's on track. Now, if I create a new task, now I go, full migration, right? And I'm going to add the task. If I go here, notice all of those labels followed it. So I only have to set up the labels once per plan, and then they will be on any task inside that plan. So what that means is, so for here, I may have this set up here, but if I go over to say environment build, and I do a new task here, notice notice these are different. So they're not identical to the ones that I have in the other because they can be very specific to each plan. Because one may be a development project, one may just be an administration, might be governance, etc. So they may have different labels that you want to utilize, and you can do that per plan. Any questions on that? Any questions? Doing good? All right. So let's go here. Oh, where'd my go? Lost my screen. There you go. All right, so that was planner and groups. Again, I have all the information out here so you can follow along. To do, all right, I don't know how many of you have ever used to do, but I really like the whole to do thing because it integrates with your Outlook email, your planner. You can create personal tasks, you can hide things that are completed, you can add new lists, and you can update your planner tasks. And that's something that I really, really enjoy because I feel like I'm to a one-stop shop when I do this. So if we go here and we go to do, one of the things is on initial setup, oh, and I probably should have showed that first before I switched over here, is initially, if you've never set up to do, when you select it, it's going through essentially and setting up your profile, okay? So it's going to prompt you for these three things. Do you want to show your flagged email inside of your to do? So you can say yes or not now or show list. Do I want to show things assigned to me from Planner? And if you're someone who uses Wunderlist, you can say import my tasks from Wunderlist. So that way you don't have to go from one place to the other, right? So if we go back over here to here we go, my to-dos, notice, you know, I have my today, so things that would be due today, things that I have identified as important, so I have some overdue things, oops. Here are my plans, right? So notice I could actually select this and complete this task right here, and I don't have to go into Planner and do so. If I select this, notice I can come over here and actually see more of the information, right? So here's like says forms continued. I could mark off checklist items in here saying I've done this, done that. I can add it to my day, so maybe I don't want to forget and I want to have a reminder up there on my day thing. Notice how I can look at the due date, change it if I need to, or pick a date. I can open it in Planner from here. Notice I see all this the information, who it's assigned to, all that kind of stuff. Let's see here. Notice I can add a note here, or I can see the latest note that someone put in there, right? But the one thing is you can't add like one of those notes that actually sends out another email, okay? So that you would actually have to open in Planner, but majority of the information you could get right here. Here's some other tasks here on the assigned to. Go away. Oops, it got stuck. Come on, there we go. Things assigned to me. So this is as a whole. So this is Planner. This is any task from any of my other task lists, so like my Outlook tasks, all that kind of stuff. It all is in one place, things that are assigned to me. So here, any emails that I have flagged all shows up here because I flagged them because most likely there's something that needs to be done with them, right? So I can see all that and work on them from here. Again, you know, I can say, give me a reminder, repeat every week. I can give it a category, I can add a file, and I can open it straight in Outlook from here by selecting this, right? So I can even add a note, but it's just a note in here. It doesn't add it into email or anything like that, but I can add information here. I can also add a step if I wanted to. So if I wanted to say, check tomorrow, whatever here, and I can't spell, and just hit add. It just adds it here as something I need to do for it, okay? And then here's just tasks, actually from your task list. And then of course, then you can create new lists and everything. So if you can do the honey-do list on here. So you can then have a one-stop shop for your email tasks, your Outlook tasks, your planner tasks, and personal, like house, the honey-do lists, things for doggy daycare, or school-related items for your kids, and you can literally work from here, which then brings it all together, really helps you streamline your day. All right. Any questions on to do? You guys are being really quiet. You either like it or I put you to sleep. All right. Planner in Outlook. So this is one of my most favorite things that I have found, since I am in Planner a lot, but I'm also in Outlook a lot. Now, I'm sure if you're a geek like most of us speakers are, you have multiple monitors and all this thing going on, which I do, which means I always have Outlook open someplace. Most likely my Teams open someplace else, but it's like, how many windows do I really need to have open? So I was doing some digging when I was working on this particular presentation. I was like, I know there's some things out there that I should be able to do. So I found iPlanner and iPlanner Pro, and it's put out there by IGLOBE, and you can find it on the Microsoft Store. iPlanner is just the free version. It's a direct overview of all of your Office 365 planner tasks. Directly, you can view them directly from your Outlook, and I'll show you here in a quick minute. But it's a quick view of all your tasks sorted by date. You can use the built-in filter options to see what you want to see by plan, bucket, status, etc. However, this is just a visualization. If you need to actually do any edits to that plan, you're literally, when you click on it, it's opening up in the browser and taking you right to O365 Planner Hub to make those updates. Okay, so it actually is directing you somewhere else, but you could have an overview. So if you don't need to make changes, just need to view, it's the perfect option. However, because I like to be able to add things on the fly and not have to switch from one place to another, I really like the iPlanner Pro. And the licensing and stuff is very, very cheap. Up to 50 users, it's $2 a month, or 50 plus users, it's $1 based, and it's based off a yearly subscription, right? But it allows you to literally manage your tasks from start to finish. You can edit the task, you can create a new task, you can copy a task, you can delete one. You can create a new task from an email, which I use all the time, because you know how, like, especially when you get changes on project, trying to manage scope creep. Well, I can add it to a task and make notes that this is, not part of the statement of work or not part of the original plan, and then initiate checklist items like, get a, how long is this going to take? Can someone estimate this? Hey, do we need an addendum? Those types of things. I can add attachments, I can insert a link, I can save the actual mail to it. I can move it to another plan, I can create a bucket, and I can even create reoccurring tasks from it. So it really allows me to manage this thing from start to finish. And essentially it looks very much like this, which almost reminds you of like the planner cards. Looks very much like that, but this is the iPlanner, kind of have a look and overview. And here's the iPlanner Pro. Now the big difference is these options that you really have up here, and the fact that you can add comments and you can post, which means, the emails go out and the whole 9 yards, right? So if I go over to my email, and actually click on email, bring this up over here, notice in my email I have these options, and I have both of them up here. So I have iPlanner, right? So notice it says if you want more, you can upgrade, but it goes out and it connects. And then you literally have the visual representation of all your tasks that you have out here. You can see who's assigned, due dates, and everything. All right, so pretty neat. Now I can mark it complete, but it's going through the, through the browser to do so. I can look at just today's tasks. I can do a filter. I can do a search. So the free version is very successful because it gives you that inside look to it, and you can click on it and go to the browser version and update. So, and then you have the iPlanner Pro, which, like I said, is my favorite. And of course, this tenant doesn't have the new license to it, but and I tested that yesterday and it worked, so that must have done that overnight. But anyways, it looks very much just like iPlanner does, except for the fact you can actually edit and add your notes straight in here. It will not take you to the browser and open up in the hub or anything like that. You're literally updating it straight from here, and all those things that I had mentioned. You really have, it's really full functionality, and it streamlines your day-to-day process. So it allows you to really take projects and putting them all in one place and using these tools to help you do that. And I've happened to notice that I'm much more efficient, the fact that I don't have to swap between one application and another, and the fact that it's very reasonably priced. It makes definitely a huge impact, and with the fact that where Planner is now, where Planner is going to down the road, you start using Planner now and learning all these little tips and tricks like these, creating the templates and all that stuff makes life so much easier the more and more they keep doing. And then the eventual integration with project life and managing your life and your projects becomes much easier, and allows you to be a lot more flexible as well. Okay. Any questions? Let me see. Can I pull up the QA thingy here? Okay. Is it possible to set the language? Whoever put that in there. Oh, yeah, okay. Yes, Galen answered that. Okay. Any other questions out there? Let me see. Okay, Marcy, we evaluated the learning portal about 6 months ago. Oh, that might not be for me. Oh, let's just move a bunch of the other questions. Let's go down here. All right. I'm a bit late, but I've written this much. We are seeing a patient. How do you handle reoccurring tasks? Did I answer that? Did you actually see that, or do you? And you can come off mute and Maggie and answer the fact that you can create the reoccurring tasks, especially using the iPlanner, but you can do so as well in the planner. You saw a list being introduced during build and how that might affect Planner. And the task feature coming to teams. And how might that affect the Planner? So one of the things, like I just mentioned, the fact that we have some of the new features and functionality coming out in the roadmap, the integration and the also the implementation of coming to teams is really bringing that whole full circle of everything. So it's really, it's getting more and more integrated every single time. And then it's just going to get more and more. And the fact that then project is going to start playing a part into it as well, then allows you to streamline even more if you're a company that uses project or PWA. Those integrations also, eventually we're going to have the ability to add fields, which then, you can already integrate flow into your planner and have automation on some of your tasks and stuff and notifications and whatnot. But the fact that we could eventually be able to add fields really takes me down the road where I'm starting to think, like now I have it built when people put time into the system that automatically subtracts from the project how much time's left in the project. So I always know, I'm always up to date on how many hours are left. Now just think about if I can add a field into Planner and they go out there and put their notes, and then they're required to put how many, how many hours they put in, and that automatically feed back as entering time into the system and subtracting from that. So then it really streamlines your entire process so that they're not entering their notes and everything into Planner and then having to go in and submit their time, right? To where they can do it in one place, and it really brings, and it'll bring it all together, okay? Yes, Jeffrey, so cool. I love this stuff. I had one from her. How are you able to check on status of projects specific to those you have assigned versus checking on individual tasks? So I believe I showed that in the to-do, so you probably saw that. Is in the to-do, you can literally see your projects versus your individual assigned tasks. And also the one thing I forgot to show, but when you're in the Planner Hub, remember there is that option where you could connect to Outlook, which then allows you to see your Planner assigned things inside of your Outlook. So then literally you're seeing your tasks and your Planner tasks in Outlook. So that, like I said, again, reorganizing it there too, streamlining. I went through, I really like Planner and use it quite often. I'm wondering if you saw a list of, okay, I think I just answered that one. Could you tell us about email notifications in the personal and group email box? Could you tell us about email notifications in personal? Not sure if I answered that one. Maybe I did, but when, inside a Planner, when you're adding those notifications, now one thing to keep in mind when you are actually in the Planner Hub and you're creating these, if you go to your plan settings, send email to group when a task is assigned or completed, right? You need to make sure that you have this selected. So then as people are putting things in as assigned or they're putting comments in, they're getting those emails. If you do not do this, the only other way for users to get those emails is if they actually follow the plan. So if they're in here and if they select following, then they will get them as well. So you have to do one or the other so that, from either, group email box or personal, to make sure that those emails and things are being sent. So keep that in mind as you're setting those up, and the integration with Teams is going to work very much the same exact way. Thank you, Jeffrey. Tell us about email notification. Okay, is there a way to dashboard of all the plans? So yeah, so when we were here at the Planner Hub, so these are your favorites, and then down here you have recent, and then you have all plans, right? So when you go to all plans, then it's in alphabetical order. So then you can literally go down and see all your plans down here. Okay, and eventually, based off of what I'm hearing, is there's going to be a search added here, because as you can tell right now, there's no search. So if I wanted to go to all plans, I literally have to scroll at this point. So the idea of Planner and to-do integration into Teams. They are getting ready to integrate the Planner and to-do stuff into Teams. How can one best use Planner for operator mode operations? Not sure I understand that question. Ashley, can you elaborate a little bit? iPlanner and iPlanner Pro, you can get that from your Microsoft Store. So right here, you can go here and type that in, and you'll be able to get it there. So of course, you can download the free version immediately, and then you download the other one as well once you purchase it. How can I reoccurring tasks in Planner? So if I go here, now I gotta figure out where that one is because that changed. Really, where is that? Ashley, let me find out where they moved that to, because I think we might only be able to do it in the one place. I will look that up just because we're running close on time and I don't want to let the next person run late. I will find that and I will tweet that out. So just follow my Twitter, SL Deere, and I've got that and a couple other questions from my last. I'm going to write the answers in there. Okay. How do you distinguish what tasks are from Planner within the To-Do app? Not sure if you had shown this. So in the To-Do here, anything that's planned, this is from Planner. So they didn't call it Planner, they just call it Planned, but this is where all your Planner things are. Could you tell us about email notifications? So I answered that. If we want to consolidate all KPI together, is there a way to connect with Power BI and create a dashboard? So yes, so I have actually seen where they've taken a flow and actually pulled the information into a SharePoint list and used it to show a dashboard on, and we're working on one right now for a client. If it was done, I would totally show you. So definitely stay in touch if that's something that you're interested in seeing. To literally pulling the information into SharePoint and then doing a project management from the main PMO site, showing a dashboard of all the projects, tasks, things that are late, on time, all that kind of stuff. Is there a way to restore a deleted task in a plan? I do not think it's released yet. At least it wasn't when, let me, yeah, it's not out here yet. Yeah, it doesn't look like that's out here yet, but that is something that is on the roadmap to be able to restore a deleted task. Planner for I guess more like reoccurring tasks, but on a scheduled time frame. Okay, yeah, definitely. I can get you more information on that. Now the IPLANNER thing, notice how you could do that reoccurring thing straight from there. So they've made it easier there than they actually did in the actual application itself, but you can do that. The other thing is scheduled time frame things. We've done a lot of those types of things actually utilizing flow as well. So, but I'll find that reoccurring task thing for you, I think. Can an email report be generated from the Planner app or even the To-Do app example to send a report? Yes, you can use Flow and do that, Pierre. Okay, I think okay. All right, I think I made it through all the questions. If any other questions come up, please don't hesitate to reach out. Like I said, feel free to email me. Email me, reach out. Let me bring this back up. There's the speaker feedback, if you guys have that. And then here, this is my Twitter. You can follow me there. You can email me any questions that you have to follow up. Don't hesitate. Feel free to reach out, and you can connect to me on LinkedIn as well. But yeah, absolutely. If you guys have any questions or anything, don't hesitate. Reach out. That's what I'm here for. I love to do this stuff, and I love to help you guys out. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this session. Hopefully I'll be hearing from you guys, and I will look up those couple things, and I will send those out on Twitter ASAP. And if you guys need anything, don't hesitate, and have a great evening, and I hope you guys enjoy the rest of the event. Thank you guys, I appreciate it.